Hi folks, today's video is going to be a little different from what I typically bring to you. I want to talk to you today about hurricane dogs. Never heard of that? Well, I'm going to tell you all about it today, but I do warn you, this may make you sad or it may make you angry. Meet Rey. Rey was named after the Jedi in Star Wars. This is our dog, you've seen her in some of our other videos. She was a hurricane dog. We adopted her after Hurricane Matthew. What is a hurricane dog? When a hurricane is called and the governor orders an evacuation in a state, many people will leave their dogs chained up and just abandon them because they can't find a shelter or a hotel that will accept pets. This is a huge, huge problem in the Southeast. And every time there's a big hurricane and the governor orders an evacuation, this is a very common thing, and there'll be the shelters will get flooded with dogs that had to be rescued from flooded waters. Sometimes there'll be a situation where one gets free because maybe a tree landed on a fence and they got scared and they panicked and they got out of their yard and ran. Other times people are just flat out abandoning their dogs on the side of the road because they are forced to leave and they can't find a place that they can go to that will accept their pets. Some surrender it to the shelters, which in most jurisdictions, you're not going to be able to get your pet back after you do this. The real victims of this, of course, is the pets who get left behind. Can you imagine how terrified these poor pets are when they're out there in the storms? You know, a hurricane is a brutal thing to experience. When you're indoors, can you imagine being stuck outdoors with the pouring rain, sometimes hail, trees and limbs crashing all around you? When we adopted Rey, it was actually after Hurricane Matthew. Somebody found her wandering around on the side of the road several weeks after the hurricane, and you could see every rib cage, every bone in her rib cage. She had been wandering around scavenging for what food she could find. Obviously, you could see she's well fed now. Our dog, I promise you, will never have to go hungry again. But she's terrified of storms now. She's terrified of the rain. And when we adopted her, she had some behavioral problems that we had to work with. When we first brought her home, she had this perception that she wasn't allowed in the house. Now, I don't know if she was raised as an outdoor dog, but she didn't know about potty training. And the first night we brought her home, we let her outside, and she crawled over to bushes and tried to go how they make their little nest in the bushes as if she was going to go to sleep for the night out there. And we said, no, honey, you sleep inside. And I promise you, this dog for the rest of her life will always sleep inside. She's never going to be homeless again, and she's never going to be hungry. She's never going to suffer again. We're going to guarantee you that. But she's been through trauma, and you can see it in some of the things that go on, especially storms. She is just absolutely terrified of rain and thunder and wind, and she probably will be for the rest of her life. We have medications that we have to give to her when it gets really bad. We also, of course, you've probably heard of thunder shirts, and there's a product called Adaptil that we really like, which is like a pheromone that calms them down. Sometimes we have to use that with her. But she's, even regardless of that, we've now had her since Hurricane Matthew, which was about 4 years ago. She still has intense trauma symptoms, and she always will. Now, let me tell you something about Rey. Rey is a love bug. She loves children. As soon as she sees children, and what you don't see there when she was just wagging her tail, there's children in the background. But she saw them and she wanted to go play. She loves children. Whatever household she came from probably had kids, because she immediately, when she sees them, she starts wagging her tail and doing the dog smile. We'll never know what happened. We know that she was wandering for weeks. She was turned into a shelter because somebody thankfully found her before she completely starved to death. And she was there. She could have been claimed by the owners. Nobody claimed her. So she's ours now, and she will have a safe home. So why am I telling you this? Well, every time there's a big hurricane and there's evacuation, the shelters are going to have some of these. They're called hurricane dogs. And I would just like you to kind of consider, if you're thinking about taking on a pet, think about taking on a beautiful hurricane dog like Ray. She had some behavioral problems, like we said, because of the trauma and because we don't know her full background. She had to learn potty training as an adult, which it was a little challenging, but she's got it now. Of course, the nervousness around storms is always going to be there. We're going to make her feel as safe as we possibly can, but she's always going to be very, very nervous when there's rain, thunder, wind. It took her a full year to learn how to do sit and shake, so I don't know that anybody was spending a lot of time with her with that, but now she's got it. She's actually now in the last couple months has done really good with learning some guarding stuff. So she will let me know when somebody's coming up the driveway. She'll let me know when there's a car parked in front of the house or if there's somebody walking in front of the house that's not one of our neighbors. She actually knows all the neighbors now. So Ray is a love bug, but she's also got a job now. And she's very, very happy. I know you're in this video, you see her panting a little bit. This is Charleston. It was like 95 degrees when we shot this footage. And the reason you're seeing some loops here is because I only kept her out for 10 minutes. We got her back to the air conditioning. She got a nice big bowl of ice water and she's happy. So please don't worry. We promise you this dog will always be taken care of for the rest of her life. So that's the story of Ray, and now you know what a hurricane dog is. So before you go out, and this, by the way, we believe she's if you're wondering what breed she is, we believe she's a cross between an American bulldog and an English bulldog. So before you go out and spend $1,000, $2,000 from a breeder, at least consider adopting a dog. You can get and actually dogs that are mixed breed like that have beautiful genetics. They tend to be very healthy. It's possible that a full breed bulldog may not have survived the trauma that she had. They tend to when you have a full breed, sometimes some of the recessive traits come out and there's health problems and things like that. So there's a lot to be said for adopting a mixed breed animal. And I've had both. I had a full bred German Shepherd that was canine trained, that was a retired canine. She came from Suki Kennels, which, if you don't know, is one of the best German Shepherd breeders in the country. So I've had full bred dogs. I had a full bred Pomeranian that we adopted. That one was an adoption. We didn't buy her from a breeder. And I've had mixed breed dogs, and probably the smartest dog and the healthiest dog and the most athletic dog that I ever had was a mixed breed dog. And that was the Australian Shepherd mixed dog that you heard me talk about in the chicken video, right? So just consider it, right? And if you know people in the Southeast who have pets, and you hear that there's an evacuation ordered, and if you have the capability to offer them shelter, please consider reaching out to them when you hear that this is going on, so that they can have a place to stay. There's not a ton of hotels that will accept pets, and if you can give a pet for a shelter for a storm, it may make the difference between that owner making a really bad choice to abandon their pet, or that family, and the pet is part of the family, the family staying united. Okay, thank you so much thank you so much for listening to this. I know this was a little bit different today. If you haven't already done so, please drop a like. Please, if you're new to the channel, please subscribe. I drop new videos at least twice a week. And comment down below. I'd like to know, do you have a favorite breed of dog? I'd like to know what it is. Thank you so much. Keep planting your seeds. Keep stacking your silver. This is Preppin' with Sarge.